What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more Scrap Mechanic, and today we're back playing around with the Electromagnetic mod. It's a wonderful mod. It adds this wonderful magnet part, and I actually got a comment on the aircraft carrier video from Miobrat who said, would you like to revisit the Electromagnetic mod and perhaps make a Tesla or a railgun? And so obviously I made a Tesla. This actually took a lot more work and development than I thought it would, and there's a lot of finesse with these magnets. So the thing with the Electromagnetic mod is it's pretty simple. So if we put down, a platform here and we put down a magnet on it, we can set the magnet to north or south or just, nothing, and we can just have this here and hook it into a power source, and boom, that is now a magnet. And then of course, if we put down another magnet on a different creation, like this here, we set that to south, and we also turn it on, then the south attracts to the north, and yeah. See, this is the problem with the magnets in this game. They're great, it's awesome that they exist, but they do have a sort of violent reaction all the time. If we put it on north, for example, you can see it just, there it goes. A little less violent when it's repelling, but when they attract together, magnets are just absolutely insane. So, using the Electromagnetic mod, I was able to make a railgun, and it took a lot. This is actually the 6th version that I finally got something that is consistent and I think works great. So we're just gonna start and go through sort of the development process and kind of explain. You can see I've got all this stuff here for magnet railguns, but just kind of explain how things got so complicated and how it took forever. Here's the basic example, magnet railgun example, right? So my first thought originally was to do a large explosive shell. If we take a look, I was originally gonna do something like this. We place a block down here. We can, of course, weld this into that, like so. We've got this mesh block, that's this black mesh block. It's a very low friction block, so it kind of gives it a channel. We, of course, turn on all the magnets in there. You can already feel the lag from it. If you have too many magnets on at the same time in the game, it doesn't like it. So that's sort of an issue. Let's just delete that one as well. But yeah, so that's an issue. And then of course, we're just gonna activate all these magnets at the same time, and the game explodes, and that's gone. I don't know where it went. But I have 4 frames per second. That thing repelled with such force that it's over there. And again, 4 frames per second. Is that an explosion? Honestly, I don't know. I'm just gonna clear the world. So that's the first issue I came across. The obvious solution to make a railgun, just put a bunch of magnets. This has like, what, 125 magnets, something like that. Just put a bunch of magnets repelling a bunch of other magnets, problem solved. And then I realized it's impossible. It just gets way too laggy, way too fast. The gun goes flying. It's just a disaster. So I went to the second version, which was, of course, what if you kind of sequence the magnets? And so you can see here I've made a trough, and the trough is pretty simple. There's a series of sensors around it, and each sensor activates the next magnet in the series. So it's actually the sensor ahead. So basically when this sensor activates, it'll activate these magnets. And that of course means that the projectile, as it passes past each set of magnets, it'll activate them in a sequence. And again, we can put that large projectile in. This was of course me still thinking in large projectile terms. Now, of course, I do use the Electromagnetic mod. I also use the mod pack for some controls as well as some number logic stuff, which we'll get into in a bit. But you can see we can turn this on, and now look at that, right? It's only 1 magnet per, but you can see lag-free, usable experience, and it was kind of a nice railgun effect. You can see the light. We can do it again just to show, but you can see the lights kind of moving down the line as it goes. That's basically each sensor picking up the projectile as it goes down the trough, and of course, activating the previous magnet. See, nice, perfect, right? Simple enough. So of course I thought, well, let's just scale this up, right? Let's just make this bigger. Let's put more magnets repelling stuff, and everything will be great. And that's what this is, right? Now we've gotten to some magnet bricks. We've got sets of 15 magnets, but again, same system, sensors in the floor, and of course we can once again put our large projectile in here. Now, of course, I'm still thinking in large projectiles. Don't worry, the final version gets to a wicked custom projectile, which was honestly the way to do it from the get-go. There's some issues with these. Once you start accelerating stuff faster, it becomes a nightmare. So here we go, this one again. We'll just fire that up. You can see the lag already, and it gets a little bit more distance, but it's not really generating a lot of distance. It's very laggy still. We're activating, we're getting close to that point where we're activating too many magnets all at the same time, and it's not really a good idea. I thought, you know, what if I just scale up and add more magnets on top of this? I did try a version of that. It became like the first version, just super laggy, too many magnets, and not enough pushing power. Just absolutely broke everything. Here we go, we'll do it again. You can see, you know, it gets a good launch, it kicks, but it doesn't really go that far. Definitely not as far as the first super laggy 125 magnet version. So the next thing I thought is, well, what if we switch from a large projectile into a small projectile? And you know, I think that's really, this is Magnet Railgun 3. What did I do with 3? I feel like 3 is the same as 2. They look the same. Yeah, I don't think I actually changed anything. I added 1 bearing is the difference between those two. Amazing. Good stuff. So apparently I only needed 5 versions. Anyway, so I decided to switch to a small projectile. And, you know, I thought, okay, well, we can use less magnets and get the projectile to go further. Now, the small projectile I was using originally was not this. Oh, do I not have an example of it? Oh, shoot. I went straight into custom. These are custom projectiles. Yeah, that turns out when you're using mods, you're better off making a custom electromagnetic projectile with detonators based on the sensors is really how that goes. But anyway, the small projectile was pretty much the same as this. It was just basically this half. You know, we had a little half like this, and we put a little explosive on it, and there we go. And that's, you know, that's a projectile, right? And if we activate it, eventually the magnets should all activate. They're all activated. Perfect, right? The new smart projectile is much better. It prevents a lot of other issues. But of course, we can just weld this guy, just kind of put a weld point down there, grab it like that, whatever, slap this guy there, perfect, delete that, fire that guy up, activates, and boom. And you can see small projectile, less magnets, less lag, better results. So that was sort of the thought. This is when I was like, all right, you know what? We need to go to a 2x2 projectile instead of a larger explosive. The large explosives are cool, but they are really heavy. And then, you know, after a while of firing that and playing around with that, mainly I got to a better version than that. If we look at Magnet Railgun 5, which is around here somewhere, there we go, perfect. This is when I really started to have things take shape. So this is the sort of final version that ends up getting put onto a base. I know we're like sort of rushing through all the development process. I'm just trying to do a really quick summary because, you know, I want to get to shoot and stuff. But this is pretty much it. And this is when I realized, you know, I could do a breech load. It's got a nice breech loading system, which is great. And again, I'm using a custom projectile. But before I was using a custom projectile, let's go back to another old school one. I might not even be able to duplicate the issue. The issue is pretty simple. Magnets like to cause stuff to not always go straight down the line, especially when you put them on a rotating turret. So as soon as you start to rotate stuff, the magnets don't always cooperate, and you don't always end up with the thing going down the barrel. Sometimes it would get in the barrel and jam. Not sure if we'll be able to get this here, but here we go. Breech load. Did I not honestly put a button to fire this thing? No, of course I didn't. And the breech is really way too powerful. Oh, this is just an empty shell with no actual controls on it. Oh, perfect. No, let's go straight ahead to the final version then. So anyway, basically same thing. I took the sensors off this, and I started using distance sensors. You can see from the mod pack. This is when I realized you had to use the mod pack. So if I look at the older version, this is, guys, I'm really organized. As you can see, I've been doing nothing but playing with magnets. But this version, small version, same thing as the bigger version, except the sensors are on top, right? And there's a couple issues I found with this. Number one, the sensors don't have a good enough reaction time. So sometimes the projectile goes so fast that these magnets don't even light up because the projectile passes through the sensor before the magnet gets a chance to do anything. So I thought that's just terrible. That's not a good design. So I went to distance sensors on the loader itself. And the distance sensors basically measure how far away the object in the barrel is. So you can activate these side magnets based on the distance the object is away. So that's kind of efficient. The other thing this allowed me to do is, since it's a breech load where it basically loads from the back here, I'm able to do this and take this entire thing and cover it up and make it a proper barrel. And now that it's a proper barrel, it guarantees that stuff doesn't fly out. I know a lot of this isn't going to make sense because you guys, you know, you didn't have to spend hours and hours and hours launching magnets and trying to figure out all the quirks. But anyway, the biggest issue with this is when you put a projectile in here, right, and I do something like this, sometimes the projectile not only would get stuck and explode mid-shaft, which is a pain in the butt, but sometimes the projectile would actually launch up. I don't know why, because all these magnets are like, you know, they're perfectly symmetrical, top and bottom, but sometimes because the angle of the barrel, you had the barrel tilted a weird way, the projectile got in a weird spot, instead of going down the barrel, it would launch up, which is why I was like, you know what, I need to have an actual an actual proper barrel that's sealed on all 4 sides, which then led me to make the breech load system, which is great. So let's actually get into the real stuff, the real good thing. And of course, first thing I did is I designed a new projectile. So here we go. This is the new projectile. It uses the mod pack for the explosives. It's good stuff, and it's got sensors. Now, the reason why I had to design a projectile is, again, projectiles exploding mid-shaft once I sealed in that. So instead of projectiles getting launched out of the magnet shaft, sometimes they would get stuck in the middle of it for some reason and just explode. So what this projectile does is it has some logic on it, and it's got TNT. So number one, these explosives don't detonate on impact. They won't explode unless you give them a logic symbol or you activate their, I just pressed E on the one, it'll activate, it has a 10-second timer, and then it'll explode, which it should do now? Maybe now? There it goes, right? Explodes. Whole projectile's gone. So what I did is I put some logic on the back with a little bit of a timer, a little bit of a system, and essentially 4 sensors on the front. And what happens is, until that timer's full, these can't explode, which is kind of great. And so it's a half-second timer. I might have to adjust that, but essentially this gives you a half a second to fire the projectile before it explodes. And actually, when you click the fire button, there's a little spud gun inside the turret that activates this switch for you to then fire them. It's a cool system. It prevents kind of, explosions mid-shaft. And then of course, if the sensors pick up anything, it explodes, right? So if the sensors on the front see something after that half second is up, it'll explode. So the idea is that mid-flight, it goes, explodes. Let's just show you. It's fantastic. So here we go. Magnet Railgun 6, actually version 5. This thing's a monster. I love it so much. It's so cool. So it's a turret. It's got an up and down control and a left and right. It doesn't move very quickly. And the reason why is I don't want you to whip around the projectile inside the barrel, right? So it's got a limit. It uses a piston for WS tilt control. I was so happy when I figured out how to do this. Again, it is using a little bit of mod pack number logic, but you can see we're not actually controlling the pivot at the bearings. We're only controlling it by controlling the power of this piston. So if I press W, you can see the piston goes up, and then I let go, and it'll stop, and it'll stay wherever it is. No pulsing, none of that. Number logic, it's pretty cool stuff. I love the way that works. It's a neat system. And then, of course, we've got A and D, right? So another simple thing. And again, we're just using these smart engines, which allows you to do all sorts of fun stuff. So over here, we've got the piston set up for the WS controls this piston from that smart motor. And then A and D, and again, same thing, controls the turret rotation. And then the rest of this stuff is the fire sequencing control, which is just awesome. So we spawn in this creation. We've got our button number 2. Originally, I was going to put an auto tracker on this, which is why I used the number logic. I was like, oh, I'm just going to throw an auto tracker. But then I realized there's enough misfires and stuff that, well, actually, there's not really that many misfires, but there's enough, things that can go wrong, let's say, where I was like, you know what, we're just going to make this a manual turret because it's kind of intimidating. So you can see we can breach load, which is nice and slow. And again, it's got those 2 distance sensors on it. And then we've got those spud guns, number 4. And that's to actually, I guess we could shoot one. That's kind of interesting. I should maybe put a block to block that. That wouldn't, yeah, that probably should just be blocked like this. There we go, so you don't accidentally shoot it. Yeah, perfect. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our breach, and then we're going to press 3, which brings our giant clip holder thingy majumner up, and then we wanna spawn in ourselves a magnet railgun clip. And you can see this is a wonderful clip. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots. So we can fire 8. We grab the very top of this cardboard right next to that controller, and we put it there. And it's actually kind of funny. The controller ejects off when you fire the last of the shots. So there we go. We're now locked and loaded. We can turn off the number 3, and it actually just kind of jams it right into there kind of nicely. It doesn't overshoot or anything. There's cardboard you can see. And basically when we press 4, it's going to break that bottom cardboard, jam that down, right? So it jams that one projectile in. The other projectiles, again, get stuck. And then we can press 2 to reload the breach. It might kind of, get jammed a little bit, but it's fine. There we go. And now we're locked and loaded. We've got a shell ready to go. Then if we press 1, what it's going to do is you can see that little orange tube in there. That's going to actually fire and hit that switch on the thing, which activates the projectile timer. All our projectiles are currently off, but that activates the projectile timer. And then, of course, when we press 1, it activates this firing sequence. And the firing sequence is just like I was saying before. Instead of using sensors, we've got those 2 distance sensors, and these are just a bunch of comparators that calculate the distance. So if the distance is greater or equal to 0, from the breach, which obviously it is, and it takes an average of the two sensors. But if it's greater than or equal to 0, less than 5, it activates that first set of magnets, and then between 3 and 8 blocks, next set of magnets, 6, 11, 9, 14, 12, 17, and 15, and 20. So basically, as we go down the barrel, the magnets should activate in sequence and really send that projectile flying. So here we go, we can press 1, let's just aim this thing, and 1. And there it goes. It's gone, and it hit up on the far wall. It's very fast. The projectiles are awesome. This is why I had to go to a custom projectile. I was using explosives, and I put 8 magnets on a small explosive, and it liked to jam all the time. So again, open the breach up, number 2, right? We press number 4, drop that shell in, it gets jammed down in. We press 2, close the breach, and we can, of course, aim this. Let's hit that tree, right? Like, right there. Maybe that tree will work. Let's see if we can just line this thing up. It's actually kind of awesome, this magnet railgun. It took so long to figure. I need a laser sight. Hold on, there we go. That looks good, right? Fire. Dead square, the tree. Dead square. That was awesome. All right, let's load another one up. So you can see it's a pretty simple system once it actually, like, you know, once you go through it. It just took a lot of R&D development. I know I showed you guys all the versions. I kind of like rushed through it pretty quick. Let's hit that silo over there. Or, you know, let's hit the top of that mountain. It's even better. I don't know what the arc on this is going to be. There is going to be a bit of an arc. I can't see. The stupid clip is in the way. You know, that looks good-ish, maybe. I don't know what the arc's going to be like. Here we go. Is it gonna blow? Oh, it hit. Okay, it hit a little low. Let's aim up. Little left. Breach load again. Load the breach. Press that. Press 4. Break that off. Perfect. Jam it in. Load back up. And fire. I love that sound. Right at the top. Let's go. Oh man, this thing's great. It's actually, so it looks awesome. It works great. I'm a really big fan of it. I tried making electromagnetic railguns in the past before, and they never worked quite as well as this one. Obviously, we have to use a few mods. I mean, the magnet mod, obviously, but with the smart logic, and the explosives that don't detonate in the shaft, it's just so much better. I mean, look at that. It should hit in the same spot. A little left. It's drifting a little bit. All right. It's just so good that it can shoot that freaking far and still hit its shot. Jam that down. And fire. Where's that going? Oh, a little left. Okay. Open up again. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like I said, came from a comment. Comment suggested I go back and revisit the electromagnetic mod. To be honest, I thought the mod was broken for a while. Turns out it's not, which is fantastic. It does still, in fact, work. And yeah, you can't even see the magnets light up. Like, they're definitely doing it with the distance sensor. I don't think the actual sensors were good enough, and then watch this. This is the last shell. So watch, when we fire this, bink, there goes our controller. Just clicks off. Again, breach load this last guy. And we're gonna hit that mountain again. Look at that. Just, what a shot. Perfect accuracy. Right on the left side. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna reload it. We're gonna spawn in an aircraft carrier and see if we can't just send it to the bottom of the ocean with this thing. Although, we might be too close. I don't know if the half-second fuse is enough. There is a slight delay. I believe it's 0.1 seconds. So when you fire the gun, it first fires that spud gun in the barrel to activate the switch, and then it waits 0.1 seconds before it activates the whole magnet sequence. And that's just to make sure, like, the spud gun has its time to hit the switch and all that stuff. So there is a bit of a delay there already. But I'm not sure if it's a half second and we put the aircraft carrier in the water here. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. We're gonna do it anyway, but I don't think we're gonna have the time. All right, so of course we spawn in our clip. I believe it's a clip and not a mag. You know, every time I say clip or mag, I get corrected in the comments. So I'm pretty sure this is a clip. Again, we open up the breach and we activate the switch for the piston. We weld that up to there. Perfect. Deactivate our piston switch. And now we're good to go to leave that deactivated the whole time. So we're going to press 4. Load our first shell. Close the breach. Perfect. Oh my god, the carrier is super low in the water. We're going to just aim completely horizontal. Obviously, there is a little bit of an arc to these projectiles. They do arc down. But, I mean, They don't really arc down that much, to be honest. They go really freaking fast. So I think, I think that's good. Like, I don't know. Let's just fire. Oh, yeah. No, that's a direct hit. Oh, man. Okay, let's see if we can hold on. Can we take out the conning tower? It does not even move much. Let's see if we can just take out the conning tower here. All right, 2. The loading sequence is slow. I know you guys are probably like, why don't you just speed up the pistons on the, the opening mechanism, just make it faster. If you do that, because it's a frictionless barrel, it pushes the projectile too far forward. Same sense, that's why the gun, I made sure it can't tilt below 0. I don't want you to be able to tilt downwards and then have it actually roll the projectile out and have the projectile slide out of the end of the barrel, because that would just be really stupid. So here we go. Oh, that overshot like mad. I don't even think that one exploded. I think that one hit the... Oh, there it goes. I think it hit the ground before it exploded. Let's just reload again. Break this off. Perfect. Close that. And wait for that to fully close. And fire. That was good. That was a good hit. That was a good hit. We need to actually hit the same spot, though, to really blow up this carrier. I wonder... You know what? Before we keep shooting, I'm curious... how much damage these things are doing compared to an actual torpedo. Like, how much damage did that one do? Oh, it did a lot. Oh, wow, it just flat out put a hole. Oh, that's in, and the other one destroyed the top of the car. Not as much as like large explosive. It's pretty decent there. All right, we'll put more holes in it. I feel like the railgun's biggest thing is more the accuracy and how incredibly accurate it is. Like, when I was first building these, it was actually really, really difficult to get the magnets to fly straight. With all the magnets symmetrical, it still didn't want to fly straight. And it wasn't really until I fully sealed in the barrel that I got that realization that, like, this is how you can make something fly perfectly straight. And that was, like, one of the big hurdles. That, and of course, all the magnets exploding mid-breach. But so far, we haven't had a single misfire, which honestly, I'm blown away with. Oh, that actually just flat out one-shotted. Oh, okay, well... Really? I feel like that one went so fast. It's like that scrap mechanic thing. See, I think some of the magnets go so fast that they just go through the armor. Like, I'm pretty sure that just went through the outer layer. We were aiming at a different spot than the original hole. I'm like 99% sure that just went right through it. All right, here we go. Carrier number 2. If this one-shots it, I'll be blown away. That definitely went straight through the outer armor. Like, there's no way that was an actual... Oh, see, this is why it's got to be a manual thing. Sometimes it gets a little jammed. You just gotta reattach it. Here we go. That one went through. That one went through the outer armor of that carrier and detonated on the far side of its armor. That's the speed that these stupid projectiles have. I know it probably looks slow, but it's really not. It's incredibly fast. Like, these things are way faster than a spud gun. It's just a silly amount of speed. Here we go. Let's try it again. Now, it also went through. This carrier might be too close. It might be so close that we are just going through it every time because we haven't had a chance to slow down. The projectile will, of course, slow down. Scrap mechanics slows everything down all the time. That's just the way the game goes. And there's no velocity, like, added to these things. They don't have thrusters or any of that stuff. But, dang, that's insane. It just keeps going through this carrier. Okay, that one hit. That one hit close side. We only have one shot left. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Who am I kidding? We can just reload another one. Doesn't really matter. Here we go. Fire. Kill it. Oh, nope. Right below the conning tower. Still not a kill. I need to make some targets that just autopilot move around, and then we can track them. But, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, came right from the comments to revisit the magnet railgun concept. I thought it was a great idea, and I'm actually really happy with the results. It took a lot longer, but I've really been enjoying getting back into scrap mechanic builds. I just need, the right ideas to really enjoy the build itself. And I'm really trying to take some time to do the builds proper and not just like, kind of jerry-rig something that works. I'm really trying to make a build that's proper, that's exciting, that works. I've got a controller here because I was through that clip. And fire. Okay, that one's dead. Yeah, no, that was the amazing. Amazing. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, super happy this build works out. I mean, it's just cool. It's really cool. It can hold 8 shots. It can fire. Look, I can reload while it's firing. Everything just works great. I wouldn't rotate while firing. You should probably stop moving before you fire. You know, but it's just ridiculous. Like, look at that. Let's go for that tree right there. That big tree that kind of sticks out on the edge. Let's see if we can line this up. I really need to put like a laser. You know what? I can just do this, honestly. Strict follow cam first person, right? Like if that's probably a little bit left of the tree. That's probably good. Maybe. Let's see what this does. Am I loaded? I'm loaded. Oh, that was way too high. It's gonna just, I don't think that would have hit the tree even if I wanted it to. It definitely overshot the tree. Is my breech broken? Hello? Hello? Oh, my breech got stuck. Sometimes happens, you know, just normal scrap mechanic things. Just put a block down, fixes that. That's just, you know, just normal things. Perfect. Load this. Fire you. Thank you. Get in there. All right. I'm gonna just, I think that's probably better. Left side of the tree. Amazing. Love this. I can't believe it hasn't misfired yet, honestly. Even this version still has the occasional misfire where the projectile gets jammed in the barrel for some reason, just because magnets are weird, and, you know, it gets jammed in the barrel, and then when it gets jammed in the barrel, the sensor eventually runs out of its half second. That one totally missed the tree. And then when it runs out of its half second, one of the sensors picks up something and detonates, and, you know, it happens. That's sort of the main reason I had to switch to this version, but really, really cool that it's been working so successfully. It's just ridiculous. You can still feel there's a bit of lag when it, you know, when it fires. There are a lot of magnets. It is sets of 16 magnets going all the way up, and of course it's repelling 8 magnets. So it's 32 magnets at a time, repelling 8, but there is a little bit of overlap between the two sets. So really it's 64 at a time, repelling 8 is sort of how it works. And, you know, that's what gets you these insane velocities. But here we go. Oh, that's dead square. Left. That went left. Oh, that's so interesting. That looked really straight. I mean, it's hard to tell, but there we go. 2 more shots. Of course, it's not a super high-speed firing weapon, but, you know, could put it on a Navy ship and just have it be hilarious. Does have a lot of moving parts, though. But either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you have any other cool ideas for scrap mechanic builds, of course, let me know in the comments down below. I'm really, you know, I'm really happy to be getting back into some cool scrap mechanic builds, and as long as I got the right idea, I think it's really cool to make a cool build on it. So let me know what you guys think. I know I haven't uploaded the carrier to the workshop yet. I gotta do that. And then I gotta also upload this to the workshop. So I'll definitely get back to uploading stuff in the future. I probably should upload this at some point and, you know, just let people really play around with it and then critique all the things I did wrong. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.